Hey, what's going on, everyone? Zeusifur here, welcoming you to our Week 3 match of the PCL D-League. This week we're going up against Mappa Justice, coach of his Portland Crawdaunts. And really quickly, just to look at what his full team is, he has a Megalodius, a Weavile, Z Volcarona, Florges, Tentacruel, Chestnut, Dugtrio, Z Meloetta, Magnezone, Garchomp, and Wigglytuff. So, looking at his team, he has a lot of crazy mons. The combination of Megalodius, Weavile is pretty scary. Z Volcarona is always scary. His defensive mons are also really good between the Florges, Tentacruel, and Chestnut. Having Garchomp, having Double Dragon is pretty crazy as well. So a lot of threats on his team. So because of that, we had to have some interesting sets, as you'll see here. But looking at what I brought, just to run over my team real quick, I have Blastoise with a Wakan Berry, with Earthquake, Aqua Tail, Aqua Jet, and Ice Punch. Lander's Farian is your standard Flying MZ with Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Fly, and Defog. Aromatisse is a physically defensive Aromatisse with Leftovers and Protect, Wish, Aromatherapy, and Moonblast. Rotom Heat is a specially defensive set this time with a Ayapapa Berry with Willow, Toxic, Volt Switch, and Overheat. Hydreigon is a Choice Scarf Hydreigon with Crunch, Earthquake, Outrage, and U-Turn, so it's a physical set. And my Greninja is Power Herb with Dig, Gunk Shot, Ice Punch, and Rock Slide. So, on the Greninja set, I was actually highly debating running both Dig and Bounce with the Power Herb, because Bounce would be nice for like the Chestnut and like the Volcarona. But I decided to go against that because Rock Slide covers the Volcarona and Gunk Shot covers the Chestnut while also covering like the Florges. So that's the set that I brought. And as we see here, his team is the Garchomp, the Dugtrio, the Megalodius, the Weavile, the Magnezone, and the Volcarona. So looking at his team, I figured he's probably going to either lead with the Garchomp or Dugtrio to get rocks up. He could also lead with the Magnezone to Volt Switch out. But seeing as how I have a Landorus, and Landorus is a very common lead, in most cases, he's probably not going to lead the Magnezone. He could lead Weavile if he wants to be like super aggressive, but I do think he's going to either lead Garchomp or the Dugtrio. So Blastoise covers both of those pretty well. Blastoise actually covers his entire team outside of like the Weavile. So Blastoise is just a very safe lead option, so that is what I'm going to lead with. As we go ahead and we get the match started. Challenged by Spedshed is Mappa Justice's in-game name, as he does go ahead and leads with the god Garchomp, as we do lead with our Blastoise, as I said. Now here I can just go for the Ice Punch for free. He can switch out, which is what he does. He goes ahead and he brings out the Magnezone. Now, I do have the Wakan Berry, so I can live any variant of Thunderbolt from this thing. As we do see, he's Leftovers. So at this point, I figured I can go ahead and fire off the Earthquake. We actually outspeed him, so he's probably a more defensive set. And we know he doesn't have the Sugar Berry, and he's not at sturdy range. So the Earthquake is actually going to pick up the early kill there. So getting off to a good start with our new Mon. As he does decide to bring back in the Garchomp. Here he just goes for the Dragon Claw. And Dragon Claw is going to do about 80 damage, so more than half. As the Ice Punch isn't going to quite kill here, but it does put him in range of a Aqua Jet. That is what we go for. He just decides to stay in, and this thing goes down to Aqua Jet. So starting off the game with two very big kills right away with our new Mon. As he's going to just go ahead and bring in the Megalodius just to get rid of my Blastoise. Now I want to save the Blastoise because it will be important later, and you'll see that later on. I just go out into Charge Bolt, my specially defensive wall this game. Well, not necessarily wall, it doesn't have reliable recovery, it just has the Ayapapa Berry. as he does just go ahead, Mega Evolves, and goes for the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball was pretty safe coverage. Would hit everything on my team for at least neutral outside of like the Hydreigon and the Greninja. As he just goes ahead and goes for the Ice Ball or Shadow Ball again, probably telling me he doesn't have the Dragon coverage, although he might just be predicting me to switch out at any point. I figured he would switch, so I went for the Willow. I had Toxic, so Toxic would have been the better choice, but I thought he might switch out into like the Dugtrio, because he can see now that I am a special wall. Goes for another Shadow Ball here, as I just to go ahead and go for the Volt Switch. And this Volt Switch is going to let me safely bring in my my Hydreigon, which is Choice Scarfed this week. And he has nothing on his team that resists Dragon at this point, so I'm very free to click the Outrage. As we do go ahead, click the Outrage, and we see here that it's going to do about 70-ish%, I would guess. So he's actually has to have some defensive investment. He goes for the Ice Beam, which is going to do about 100 damage, but it's going to unfortunately freeze us. So something was going to go down there, and unfortunately, because of the threes, that's not going to happen to us, or for us. As he just decides to go ahead and switch out into his Volcarona, as I was figuring I'm just going to sack this thing to another Ice Beam. But knowing now that I can't let this thing set for 3, I have to just go ahead and switch out into my Rotom Heat here. And he does go for the Curve Dance, and I was figuring, well, if he has like the standard set, I should be able to live a +1 Fire Blast. But he actually does have the Hidden Power, which turns out to be Hidden Power Rock, which at +1 will take us out. So really unfortunate that we couldn't get our Papa Berry off against the Mega Latias. And at this point, I'm figuring, well, Volcarona is probably going to be sweeping us, unless I can get some chip damage off on this thing. So that is why I decided to go into my Aromatisse, as it's the only thing that can live a hit, and all my other mons get outsped by at this point. So I do go for the Moonblast here, just to get some chip damage. I actually get the special attack drop, which is going to be very crucial, because it's going to force him to set up another Quiver Dance, because at +1 special attack, he's not going to be able to KO us. So that means we can go ahead and get another Moonblast off on this Volcarona. And no special attack drops this point. And he goes for the Flamethrower here, figuring that he has enough investment, or enough boost to kill us. But we live at 11 HP, so very clutch, because we do get one more Moonblast off. Like I said, it's not doing too much here. Now, if he had Roost at this point, and he clicked it, I basically just lose the game, because I need this thing to have a little bit of chip damage, because I can bring in now my Blastoise, and because I took the recoil damage from the Rough Skin on the Garchomp, I'm actually in Torrent range, so this Aqua Jet's doing more damage. So because of that, I am able to pick up the kill here on the Volcarona and stop his sweep right there. Thankfully, I had a offensive Blastoise this week. As he does just go ahead and brings in his Dugtrio, I'm just going to go ahead and click Aqua Tail, which brings him down to his Sash. I mean, even without Torrent, I think it was going to be taking him down to Sash. But he just decides, I gotta get rid of this thing, so he does go ahead and click the Earthquake, taking out my Blastoise. But Blastoise picked up 3 kills this week, so cannot be upset about my new acquisition to the team. So here I decided to go into my Greninja, figuring I can go ahead and just go for the Ice Punch here. As he just decided to go for the Memento, so loses this thing to Memento, which is a good play on his part, because he can get it. I'm on free now, and I'm at -2 and attack. So he does go ahead and bring out the Weavile, and as we're gonna see here in a second, he is actually a Swords Dance Weavile set. So he does go ahead and click the Swords Dance. So at this point, I figured, okay, I lost this game, unless this thing doesn't have Ice Shard for some reason, and we can fall out with Hydreigon on turn 1. I've lost this game, and as we'll see here, he decides to go for the Axle Crash, which unfortunately misses for him, meaning that Greninja will be able to pick up the kill with Rock Slide. And because all he has left now is a Mega Latias at like 10 or 15%, Ice Punch is easily going to be able to pick up this kill for us, and not even 20%, it's like 10%, if that, 5 maybe. Ice Punch is going to go ahead and pick us up the kill on this thing and give us the win. So unfortunately, it was a hacks-filled game. Two very crucial pieces of hacks happened in this game. One being the freeze on my Hydreigon, which allowed him to set up with his Volcarona and take out 2 of my Mons with that, my 2 walls with the Volcarona because of the freeze. But I do get some sort, I guess you could say, I do get the retribution in the fact that his Weavile missed the Icicle Crash. He told me after the game that he forgot to put the +2 in on his calc on the Greninja, where a knockoff would have killed me. So I should have lost that game basically. I mean, I could have played around with like Landorus getting the Intimidate off, and then sacking my Hydreigon, but then I would have had to have lived a neutral Icicle Crash, and then something from the Mega Latios, unless I outsped the Mega Latios. Or I could have hoped for the Hydreigon to fall out turn 1. But we do pick up the win, 3-0 against Mop Justice, so good game to him. Like I said, just really unfortunate, just the way that game played out, both sides with the freeze and the Icicle Crash miss. Would have been interesting to see how the game played out had neither of those happened. Granted, you could say that the freeze allowed him to get to the point to where he could set up with the Weavile. But Pokemon is Pokemon, so you just kind of have to live with what you get in this game. So this does put us at 2-1 for the season so far. We are at a +3 differential. I find it funny that we won our first week 3-0, lost our second week 0-3, and now we won our third week 3-0. So depending on if this cycle wants to continue, I guess next week I might have to worry about an 0-3 loss. But hopefully we can break that cycle next week and pick up a win instead. I believe we were going up against Los Ampharos and the coached by Dreadful Dragonite. So make sure you check out Mop Justice's side of the battle, and make sure you check out all the other D-League coaches down below in the description. And if you enjoyed, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe so you can stay tuned for the rest of our journey here in the PCL D-League. But with that being said, this has been Zeusifur, and I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.